Let me officially welcome everyone to the first Meet Your Candidates Forum. I am really glad to see such a great turnout from everyone. We are being recorded and this will be uploaded to the website for those who can't make it. The purpose of this forum is to support a really engaged and informed community, providing you, the voters, with an opportunity to hear directly from your local government candidates. These people are seeking to represent you and guide the decisions that are going to shape the future of this Shire. Just to let you know how tonight's going to run, we're going to have a short session to give you a little bit of basic information about local government and what it means to be a councillor. Then these candidates here are going to give you some presentations, short 2-minute presentations, and then we're going to get you guys to ask some questions that you've already submitted here. People have been submitting over the last couple of weeks questions through social media, through emails, through text line. Then we're going to have some more presentations from some other candidates and then some more questions, and just going to continue that for the next hour and a half. And to finish off the night, the candidates are going to have a further 2 minutes in which they can say anything they like as their closing presentations. After tonight finishes formally, we encourage you to talk to the candidates and the candidates to talk to you, but that'll finish things formally for us tonight. So, like I mentioned, there is going to be an audio recording. My voice you can hear at any time from this point on if you really like it. We have so many questions that not all the candidates will be able to answer all the questions tonight. So what we've done to counter that unfortunate but great problem is the candidates can answer some of the questions if they can tonight, answer it in their 2 minutes at the end, but we're also offering all the candidates the chance to, in writing, respond to every question, and we will post that on our website. Because there isn't enough time, we're going to randomly draw 3 candidates to respond to the questions, and we're going to get the candidates to respond for 1.5 minutes, so it's short and succinct and to the point, and we're going to do that for 15 minutes. Don't worry about that, I'm going to take care of all the timing. So, tonight is a forum that's supposed to improve our democracy, so we do really encourage everyone to disagree with each other if you have genuine disagreements. It's okay to hold strong opinions about what you value about the Shire of Augusta, Margaret River, and what's best for the community. These people here are members of your community and they are stepping forward to represent what they think is best for the community. And I'd like both you and the candidates to, when you interact with each other, try to remember that you are part of the community and we're trying to do the best, whatever that means to us. That means you can't be abusive or threatening tonight, you can't say things that you know are false or misleading, and we can't interrupt others while they're talking. I would recommend an attitude of curiosity tonight. Be curious about why these people want to run and what they think is the best thing for your community. So, a quick briefing on local government. Local government is one of the 3 tiers. Yes, sir?
I'm a bit curious who you are. Could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I did skip that, didn't I? My name is, that's quite rude of me as well. My name's Rob Weymouth. I'm a Community Engagement Officer at the Shire. Thank you for bringing that up. Local government, one of the 3 levels of government in Australia. It has certain things that it has to do by law, like collect the waste, look after certain roads, certain parks. It has some other things that it's taken on around running libraries, doing community development, activation, all that sort of thing. It has other jobs like planning for the future of just its little patch of Australia, trying to make sure that planning for it and the stuff that gets built and developed is done in a really orderly way, and for managing its finances. When you're a member of council, you're one of a number of people. Lots of different councils have different numbers, 9, 12, 10, and you make a decision as a group for what you should do with a broad direction of what the council is going to do, and then you pass that to the CEO, and the CEO directs people like me and planning managers to go and make those things happen. You're supposed to, as a local government councillor, think about what's in the interests of the whole community. That can be a very difficult thing because communities are often very diverse and they have different values, and sometimes it's just very difficult to make good decisions because some issues are really complicated. You need to try to think about what the evidence is when you're making those decisions, what impact it's going to have on the local government budget, and you have to do all that within a code of conduct which describes how you should act with fairness and transparency and accountability. All right, the one other piece of information everyone probably needs to know about the Shire of Augusta Margaret River is we recently released our strategic community plan for the next 10 years. One community standing together with nature is the byline, and this outlines the broad strategic direction for the council. Refer you to the website, but that's something that if you become a councillor, that's some pre-existing work that had been done to try and get to what the community wants. So, we're about to start the first bunch of presentations from the candidates. We're going to start at this end over here. The candidates will have 2 minutes to say whatever they want. We haven't given them any direction. And then following that, we will have some questions. So, without further ado, and turning on the red button on your remote, I introduce Lisa. Your time starts now.
Thank you, everyone. My name's Lisa McCusker, and I am the first person on the ballot, if you're looking for me. I'd like to thank you all for coming along to listen. I haven't prepared anything to say, but really what I would like to be is a good communicator, someone who actually will listen to the community. That's everyone in the community, not just a particular group of people in the community. So be very open to listening to people in the community and trying to get a handle on all of the issues and how they affect everyone before making a decision, and being very open to making the right decision for everyone, or as many people as possible. I know a friend of mine who's on a council, she's actually told me that often she's had a view, and after she's heard people presenting at the council meeting, she's changed her mind. So I feel that for me, good government does involve being open-minded and listening to the community, because that's actually what you want to be, is representing people. You can't represent everyone. It's an enormous shire. You've got tourism, you've got small businesses, you've got farmers, you've got people living in Margaret River, you've got people living in smaller communities like Gracetown, Augusta, and you've got people living just on rural subdivisions. So it covers lots of things. One thing I didn't actually make clear is I do have a sort of a small country background. I did grow up with a family that was involved in farming, so I have drafted, sheep and mustered cattle and and done pony club. But okay, I know from talking to farmers, it's really important. They want to be heard and felt heard. So I feel like that's a big thing for farmers, and the draft policy should help with that. Thank you.
Lisa, number 2.
Thanks, guys. So I'm Lisa Bell, second on the ballot paper. I've lived in the Shire for about 10 years. I used to be a town planner. I worked for state government for 15 years. So I have a really good understanding of planning processes and government processes. A few years ago, I pulled out of that. I studied horticulture at TAFE, and I now run my own gardening business throughout the Shire. So I've got a really good understanding of planning, government, and actually what's happening in the Shire and how Shire processes actually affect the people on the ground and the development and what the development outcomes are. So I also have children at school, so I'm understanding the pressures, and like so many people, I'm suffering with the cost of living, and just sort of watching how development is proceeding in the Shire. And I feel like the Shire needs to start listening better and engaging with the community more effectively to get better outcomes. So it's about why I'm running for council, is to just try and get better outcomes within our Shire, meaningful community engagement, understanding the planning process and understanding where we can advocate for our community, where we can make a difference. And there's a lot of little things that we can do and some really big things that we can do to protect what makes this place special. Yeah, I think that's it.
It has to speak for 2 minutes, that's just the maximum time. The final in the first block of presentations, Pam.
Hello everyone, I'm Pam Winter. I've been living in the Shire for 30 years. I run an off-grid ecotourism marine experience on the Blackwood River, and I'm standing for the community voice, because we have such a now diverse range of people that are embedded in the community, as well as newcomers with, that are bringing ideas to our regional community. I do see there's 19 people standing in Bustleton and there's 3 in Riverton, which sort of tells me that the community are not feeling heard, and that we have a strong sense of community in the southwest. So I want to put all the views on the table, make sure they all get an airing while we make some good decisions, and live within our means.
All right, let's get to the questions. So these guys here don't fall asleep. The first question is going to be directed to these 3 gentlemen here. You'll each have 1.5 minutes to respond. Again, maximum, don't feel you have to. I can say it more shortly than that. They've got their own.
Yeah, I can speak loud enough, I think. Is everyone hear me up the back? Oh, hear me up the back? No, it's for
So
that.
I'm going to now pass over to Emma, who's going to ask some of the questions that have come. Minute and a half.
Minute and a half.
Okay, so what do you think the Augusta community needs most right now?
Well, yeah, I don't know about what they need most right now, but I got here a little bit early so I could go down and have a look at the Turner Street jetty, just as an example. And I like to go down there and fish sometimes. So I went down and had a look to see what's wrong, why all the kerfuffle, I suppose, why was it shut and what's wrong with it. And to me it looked like there's not actually anything wrong with it, and it's a bit of a example of why I'm standing for council, is that it seems to be an overbearing nature going on with a lot of the things that we've taken for granted over the years, and now it's suddenly not safe to have a little old jetty there anymore. That's just one example of the reasons why I'm running for Shire.
Thank you, Mike.
Same question.
Yes, please. Emma, do you need a
Chill out. It's what Augusta needs. They might need a new hospital. I think it was built a long time ago, and not a lot has changed, but the growing population in the whole region is putting pressure on all of those sort of facilities. So yeah, that could be something they need. I know there's an upgrade for the main street proposed, and there are people that are very interested in how that will promote retail and businesses in the main street. So yeah, I think that the Augusta people are looking forward to that.
These guys have covered a couple of the main ones. I would say Augusta people need to feel like they're being heard by the council, would be a pretty high priority. I think we'd need to focus on activating the main street a little bit more, making sure the businesses on the main street feel the benefit of tourism, and it's not just all shooting past and maybe heading straight to the lighthouse. So the main street upgrade could be a good one. The jetty is obviously an important issue, but I think some more affordable housing down here for older generations has been raised with someone I've spoken to. I think there's a number of things. I'm just getting my head around them by speaking to more people down here, but really just being able to communicate the issues and feeling heard.
Fantastic, thank you.
Where do you stand on current development in Augusta, specifically parking, upgrades to facilities, including the Carradale Cemetery?
I think that the parking needs definitely an upgrading. It's just need to create some more parking for sure. I'm not sure what's happening with the cemetery, to be honest, so I don't have any info about that, so I can't really comment on what's going on that one. But definitely parking is an issue, and it will become a bigger one with the town growing. So I hope that's been thought while redoing the main street.
I would have liked to have answered that other question.
I'll just remind you, take notes. I see some of you are taking notes because,
okay.
as I said, you get a chance to respond to this in writing, and remember you have your 2-minute closing.
Okay, so obviously I reside in Augusta, so I'm probably across a few more things than the gentleman to my right-hand side. I don't believe there is really a massive issue for parking. It's just the fact that the flow of traffic in Augusta needs to be diverted in possibly different directions with opportunity for space to open up for parking. But I think we should also be focused on the fact that we're a very small community, and transiting the community on foot or by bike might be a better option for people. I always encourage people to come down, park your car, bring a bike, ride into town, walk around, and not so much driving. So maybe more bike racks for places to park a bike, or securely, you know, park your car and walk somewhere else. Carradale Cemetery is at the point of, I think there's already upgrades going on. I sit with ACTA. So I believe there is a Friends of the Cemetery also being formed, and that group is currently being given support by local community to engage with that group and space. So that's me.
Thank you. Thanks. I probably have a loud enough voice too. In terms of parking, I would have thought that potentially the main street with its upgrade would have been the first point of measure for accommodate and taking into reference the parking, getting that main strip into some sort of cohesive state, cohesiveness for the community to be able to access and move around safely. I know crossing the road can be a little bit of an issue too, not as bad as Kuwarama, but given the nature of where you're parking and having to get from one side of the road to the other. I do have a bank account down here, so I'm aware of moving around. And the Carradale, so my answer to that is potentially let's address that parking for the main street anyway, if that's the main point of concern when we're looking at the upgrade, taking it all as a package there. And the Carradale Cemetery has been addressed. I'm not sure if the community are satisfied with how it's being, those measures that are being addressed and taken into consideration with the local council, but potentially that's some more communication that needs to take place.
Thank you. Everyone's been extremely disciplined, and that gives us enough time for actually a final round of questions for the remaining 4. New question, Emma, Greg.
How are you committed to environmental protection within the Shire?
We go this one. Thank you for the question. That probably plays to my strong suit. Yes, I've always been very environmentally minded. That's been long-standing for me. For instance, 1995, I was on the inaugural committee of the Environmental Defenders Office, which is like legal aid for the environment, and advocated for that office for a number of years, and then served on the inaugural committee and still a member. And so there's just been that long-term commitment for me. It's all-encompassing for us in this area. It's one of the features of us for the state, the nation. We're looked upon as a beautiful area, but with a lot of environmental significance. Biodiversity is a particularly strong point. We're one of the biodiversity hotspots there's a whole range of things that come into that question. Like it comes down to even things like environmental pests, and looking at, is it Peter from the Lower Blackwood, and went out in the feral pig focus when we, they're a terrible pest, you know, and the Shire is putting money into doing something about that. Yep, so, but thank you. Thank you for the question.
On my environmental commitment.
How are you committed to environmental protection within the Shire?
Through education, and through education of visitors. So I keep up to date with what's, what's going on as far as environmental things with the Lower Blackwood Land Care and around the waterway in this area. And I have reading documentation all on board, so that I'm personally delivering education for visitors that come to the area.
Lisa?
Oh, do I get the same?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. There are so many different threats to our environment, so how you respond to them is just going to be depending on the nature of that. In my day-to-day work, I see some huge issues with weeds. So it's not just arum lilies, it's Acacia longifolia, Genista, which is another weed of national significance. I'm really concerned that these are just, if we don't get on top of those really soon, that they will become bigger and bigger issues. So we need to get on top of them as quickly as possible to minimise the impact on the environment and council resources as well, because if the longer we leave them, the worse they get. So the other part of that is just making sure that the environment is considered at the right stage of the planning process. So if we leave it, the clearing of vegetation until the development stage of the planning process, often it's too late. So we need to be really identifying that through the local planning strategies and the local planning scheme and scheme amendments to ensure that any development and the environmental impact associated with bushfire regulation and bushfire control is going to be taken into account before the decision is made to even rezone that land. And also to keep, 5 seconds. To ensure that there's transparency in the decision making, and that state government is properly transparent and properly informed.
And Lisa?
Well, this is my area of special interest and expertise. I'm a lawyer who did a Masters of Law at Sydney Uni, specialising in environmental and planning law, and I've worked for and against councils where those issues have been involved. I've dealt with biologists, hydrologists, ecologists, even Tim Flannery, for example. So I sort of feel like I've been involved. I once was involved in getting a threatened species listed under the Commonwealth Biodiversity Act. So I think I agree though with Lisa. It's very important in planning, so that you actually, before you rezone land, you already know what you're dealing with. So I do agree with Lisa about that. It's important. But then when you're coming to assess a development, it's also important, and that can be a reason to change the development or somehow take into account the species of either flora or fauna, and also water as well. It's I think land clearing is one of the biggest threats to threatened species, as well as cats and dogs.
Thank you. By the way, I just getting used to these. These we use these in council.
Excuse me, could you turn the volume up, please, for all ears?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I was just noting that these are, for people who run for council, this is what we use in council chambers.
Well, even the council, I want them to talk up too.
Oh, okay. No problem. You guys are happy to speak more directly in the microphone?
Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Councillor Greg Boland. Thanks for having us back to Augusta for another Meet the Candidates session. We had a good session a couple of weeks ago at the pub. Good to see some of you back and some new faces. It's good to be hearing from the Augusta community. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Wurundjeri and Pilbara people. Pay my respects to elders past and present. I'm running again for council because I've always been dedicated to serving my community. It's been a privilege and an honour to have served this wonderful area on the council. Had 2 years there, and I've been dedicated to contributing to a strong and stable council, which I think we've had. I'm particularly passionate about the issues of environment, sustainability, community, member of a number of community groups, nature conservation, environment centre, community centre, tennis club, rowing club, Radio Margaret River, men's shed. I'm a lawyer with a long career in the community legal sector. That's been helping those most in need. Currently working 1 day a week, part-time at a community legal centre in the region. With that only occupying 1 day per week, gives me plenty of time to devote to the councillor role. I have extensive experience as a councillor. I've had 3 terms previous to this as a councillor. I do make a point of being accessible and accountable to my community. I've been down to Augusta many times during my time on council, whether to meet with residents groups, farming groups, service providers. As we are in Augusta, I should point to how I think I've been effective and passionate as a decision maker and advocate for Augusta issues. There's been things like the council has contributed providing funding and support for many Augusta specific projects like the Cape Lewin path to the lighthouse, upgrades to the caravan park. Turner Street Jetty's been mentioned. Is it? Okay. Yeah, I think we'll probably cover other things later. So, yeah, essentially, I hope you believe I've got something to offer in the way of being on the council and look forward to your support. Thank you.
So we're moving in ballot order, so we're going to jump down there to Julian. Yeah.
What do you want to know about some of the issues? Well, that's what I was saying. It wasn't really fair to say that we know about what every Augusta resident or what Augusta needs, because if I was to ask each of the people here, I imagine they'd all say Augusta needs something different. But one of the common threads that I found, and it's the same with Margaret River, is what we're really sort of experiencing at the moment is traffic issues. With the influx of the population and also with all the holiday seasons, and Augusta's the same as Margs in that we get big variation in actual population during the different seasons. And what we're seeing in Margaret River is a virtual gridlock at times, and I feel like from what I've heard from Augusta is with the main street, and I also see that with my work because I deliver furniture for Comfort Style, so we come down here quite a bit. And you can see the congestion and the chaos in the various main streets and some of the arteries coming off trying to actually sort of get onto the main road if you're trying to do a right turn in the wrong place. And it can be really hard. So in a lot of ways, I feel like that needs to be addressed. The actual sort of flow of traffic through the general society is just one of the things. It's not the main thing, but it's something that affects us all every day. It's just getting to and fro. And I'm not going to get started on the last question down here, which is, and we committed to removing the speed trial, because everyone I've spoken to, it's sort of 80% of the people I speak to start frothing at the mouth when I bring that up as an issue. 10% don't care and 10% support it. That's been what I've realised so far, looking at that as someone who's lived here for over 30 years and seen the growth that we've really suffered, or experienced, should I say, in the last 10 years especially. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't feel the best today. Sorry, I'm on the back of a cold. So I've spoken many times, but I don't think I do myself justice. So I had a girlfriend write about me, and I thought this was pretty good. So Maxine is a dedicated and active member of the Augusta community and a field, known for her commitment to fostering connection, growth and opportunity. I'm a mum of 3 to school-aged children, and I own a business in town here in Augusta, and I employ a number of female staff who have children also. I volunteer a lot of my time and expertise across the Shire to many different community groups. I'm spirited and I love creative spaces where families and young people can thrive. I have a strong belief in the importance of engagement with not only elderly people but youth and across the Shire in its entirety. And I'm passionate for projects such as developing new infrastructure for people of all ages and ensuring that that infrastructure is cared for and well maintained. I value family, community development, and I love the outdoor lifestyle that we are to share across the Shire. Now, I know I was asked by somebody about something that's happening over in Narrabeen in regards to a resort, and sorry, gentleman down here, I can't remember your name. We can't possibly be across everything, but I guess the selection of people that you choose to represent you form a conglomerative that we can act together and form the best outcome. Thank you.
So we're going to have another block of questions. This time, to make it fair, I'll start from this end. So Lisa's first up with a question from Emma.
What are your thoughts on renewable energy projects like the proposed Scott River wind farm?
Well, that's a huge issue for this community, and it's very, very polarising for this community. I don't feel that I've done enough work analysing all of the issues and all of the material that are available. I don't think I'm against wind farms per se at this point, but I think it probably, given the amount of community against these wind farms, I think maybe it could be better located, but I'm not sure that I really feel like I've done the subject justice, because there's such an enormous amount to read about it. And I do know that there's a lot of people who are very anti it being in the Scott River region, probably for many very good reasons. So, but then the other issue is the fact that whether or not council will even have the final say. So it will end up being more that you listen to the Augusta community about it and then advocate on their behalf to the state government about it.
Thank you. Lisa, did you want the question again?
No, I think I've got it here. Yeah, like Lisa said, the Shire's not going to be the decision maker with regards to that. It's going to be the state government. But the Shire does have a really important role in advocating for the community and ensuring transparency in decision making and accountability. Now, I understand that given the history of that site and what happened with the BHP venture, that there's a lot of mistrust associated with government processes, and I feel like in many ways I really hope it's not history repeating itself, but there certainly does seem to be issues with transparency of the decision-making process, and there are obviously concerns regarding the environmental processes and environmental investigations. So yeah, look, Shire's not the decision maker, but we really need to stand up for the community and stand up for the environment and make sure that you know, the state government is held accountable and is transparent in those processes.
Thanks, Lisa.
No, that's okay. We're an outer regional and rural shire, and it's our families that are directly affected, and those things are absolutely massive. I do understand that the government's made a commitment for a certain amount of wind farms. There's a lot of conjecture about whether it's the right location and it's the right technology. As far as Augusta goes, our town will be overlooking it. Yeah, it'll be set back, but they're huge. And must we industrialise our wild landscapes? Must we do that, you know, for 30 wind turbines isn't going to fix a so-called larger problem. So I feel that voice is not getting any traction further up the line. Yeah, it's, you know, it's a local issue here, but the information sessions are a one-way affair. So my concern is for our families that are taking the direct burden, you know, and whether we need to really industrialise our wild landscapes. But people come to immerse in nature here, and how they intend to disperse the general revenue from the assistance fund.
So I'll remind you that other candidates, if you want to respond to that question, there'll be time at the end, or you can write your answers. But we can move on to the next question now.
What is your opinion on the Safer Speed trial?
Good question. Yeah, it's a difficult one. I could claim that I inherited it because the main decisions about it were made prior to my time on council to commit to go into that process. But I can't avoid it entirely because the ultimate decision that was made was when I was on council, and I followed the path that had been set for the previous a couple of years, and there was a large amount of consultation on it, and I think people were generally in favour of it. But a bit like Julian, I'm getting the feedback that a lot of people are opposed. I think there's a mix. There are a lot who are in favour of the residential speed limits, but and the highway hasn't changed, but it's those roads that are particularly east-west, like Redgate Road, Coarama Bay Road. Yeah, there's a number. So where the speed limits have gone down considerably. Perchance, I happened to speak to the RAC people when they were in the office on Friday, and you can feed back. It's available on the website. You can feed back now. So please feed back, and it will be an interesting decision for us going forward.
Yes, thank you. I think what it does highlight for me particularly is can you hear me? Yep, terrific. I think what it does highlight for me is the real need for communication and transparency, because apparently this project was put out to us as members of public, as residents, and some voted and a lot of us didn't. And so therefore those that voted, it appears that a small amount agreed to this. So of the small amount of people that voted, a small number of those, majority, agreed to this. And we all have to abide by this for at least the 12-month period, if not the 3 years. So what's highlighting is the importance to vote, the importance that we hear about these things from our councillors, and that we're transparent as councillors in communicating with the residents, and that residents jump online or however we choose to vote and make our voices heard. That's what this trial has really proven to me, that perhaps no shade thrown to any councils prior, previous or going forward, perhaps the voice is not getting across, perhaps our message is not getting heard, and perhaps we're not being active enough in actually voting.
I've got a headache. It's okay. Well, I agree with everybody here in regards to this speed trial. I drive an electric vehicle, and as it is a speed trial, I've contacted the provider of my vehicle, and if you turn out of my street in town, you don't see a 40 sign until you actually go past it out of town. My autopilot will put me on 50. So I am in a bit of a struggle. I spoke to the police and they said, no, you will have to turn your autopilot off when driving through town or risk getting a ticket. The car should read the speed signs, but some of them are in a setback zone where the cameras cannot pick them up. And there's not one at the end of my street which indicates to me that I'm turning out into a 40 zone and I come out of my street. So I'm in a bit of a pickle. I don't think they're appropriate in certain areas of town. I'm actually going to sit out and watch people try and haul their caravans up the hill at 40 kilometres an hour and try and get out of town. So I am actually a little bit against them, and we've got this problem with congestion where we're slowing traffic down, but where are they going? And yeah, so that's just my personal opinion for my 2 minutes.
Do you support the draft agricultural policy?
I'm not aware of it, so I don't know about it. I can't comment on something I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I'm not across. I've seen that there is a new policy. I'm not across that one, but I know about the priority agriculture that was talked about in the LPS2, and that there was a lot of talk around that and keeping that. So I guess growing food is really important and will continue to be super important. So keeping those areas for that, I think, is a really good thing. So I'm assuming that's what the new policy says. Yeah, but that's about all I know. So I know they were trying to change it to agriculture in the LPS2, and they kept the priority agriculture, but that's all I know.
Yeah, a bit like the other guys, it's kind of a big, long-winded sort of process. But one of the things that I have sort of been informed with and had sort of brought to my attention while I've been sort of out there campaigning, I guess you'd say, just having talks with people and seeing what's affecting them. It's probably not so much an Augusta issue, it's probably more of a Margaret River issue, because we're ringed by vineyards. And so one of the big issues that's coming across with people affected by it in close proximity to the vineyards is how they're allowed to operate heavy machinery pretty much 24 hours a day. And so that is affecting a lot of people with the tractors, the diesel, the spraying that's going on sort of in the after hours. And so it doesn't really matter where you are, say in Margaret River, you'll constantly hear the dull drone, so we say, of diesel engines running and through the night, and that does affect a lot of people, especially the people in close proximity to the vineyards. I don't know how relevant that is to the actual draft proposal for the whole, you know, the agricultural that's on.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you all hear proper? Awesome. So my name is Alex. I lived in the Margaret River with my wife and our 2 boys for the past 15 years. Well, the boys came later. I own 3 local businesses right in our Shire, and I'm here because I think it's a time to have a little change. It's time for our Shire to to back local businesses, not just bury us in red tape. And when I say local businesses, I mean everyone from farmers to shop owners. We are the one keeping our towns alive. We employ locals, we sponsor clubs, events, and we support local families. It's time that the Shire shows the same support in return by promoting local trade, encouraging innovation, and actually making it easier to do business here. I want to see our towns with events, market, and things that brings us together. Our towns are growing fast, so I'll push for thoughtful development, the right infrastructure in the right places, realistic timelines, and projects that reflect what locals actually want and need. The spending need to reflect the community priorities and not just look good on paper. Housing is another challenge. Yes, it's a state government issue, but we can still do some things at our end down here. I'll push for faster planning approvals, practical and alternative housing model that work for locals and not only developers. Our health services are under enormous pressure, so I will advocate really hard for upgrade of hospital and medical facilities. Our young people need more opportunities, so I'll support new programs, safe spaces, and initiatives that gives them a reason to stay connected and proud to stay where they live.
That's all right. Hi, my name's Joe Forte. I live in Witchcliffe. I first moved to the area in 1991, and it's been home since. I have spent time away, but it's been home. I went to school here. I've raised a family here, and I intend to retire here. You're all here, so I assume you've probably read our profile, so you kind of know the issues we all stand for, but in some of the conversations I've had with people during the campaign, they've advised me that I really focused on the community aspects of what I do and less on the professional background I've had. So I got a degree in communications after school and studied, I was going to be a filmmaker. It didn't pan out, but I studied a lot of sociology and anthropology and cultural studies, lots of things that look at people and how we operate and how we work as communities and societies. I worked in recruitment for construction and mining for a lot of the last 15 years, where my day was basically 10 hours of talking to people, hearing their issues, and then finding solutions, which I feel relates strongly to this kind of role. I also successfully built, ran, and then sold a small business in town in Margaret River, which still operates to this day, so I've felt the joys and then the many stresses of small business in a country town. So I can relate to a fairly broad array of people, I would think. Community is my priority. I've got a strong connection to the people and the town and the landscape and the environment and all the aspects that are essentially the backbones of this town, which are the small business and the people and the farmers and the primary producers, etc. So if you want a mix of strong business, large business and small business acumen, financial responsibility and strong community spirit, vote Joe, number one.
Vote Joe. Thanks, Joe. Hello, my name's Mike Bloxham. I'm 49 years old. I live in Witchcliffe with my partner Narelle, who's a nurse practitioner here in Augusta and Margaret River. I was born in Perth and moved to the region full-time 19 years ago. I've been visiting regularly since I was 12, when my uncle and auntie moved here 37 years ago. My auntie was a nurse here in Augusta and then Margaret River, and my uncle a builder. So I've watched the towns change as we all still watch them change today. Growing up, we lived in the country and moved around as my dad worked in a bank. We lived in Jerramunga, Pemberton and Carnarvon. Employment, I've had a very varied job history filled by some great people, and I hope that experience will connect me with the whole community. It's given me a broad understanding of many industries and the people who work in them. In Margaret River, I've worked at the hospital, Lewin Estate, Mr. Barbell and the post office. I now currently work part-time for the local tourism association, while also helping to run our small business, retail business, Marmalade in Witchcliffe. I was on the committee of the Margaret River Tennis Club for many years and coordinated the men's Thursday night competition and club championships. I'm standing for council to get involved. I don't want to be another voice constantly criticising the Shire and saying they're not doing it right. I don't believe that's the case, and so I hope to be elected to get involved in the discussion and try and communicate to people how things happen. I hope to bring the difficulties and challenges of all the many people in the community to the awareness of Council and the Shire. My key values would be job creation, environmental management with a focus on community access and infrastructure. Creating employment is key. It provides money to survive, but it provides much, much more than that. So policies that stimulate employment are very important. My personal values are probably based around all going forward together. I guess to sum up my values in simple words is we're all in this together and be kind. Thanks for coming along tonight and getting involved. I really believe this region is second to none. Let's keep it great and all go forward together.
Well, I can't say a lot that the guys haven't already said, to be honest. Other than, my name's Julian James. I've been in Margaret River and...
Sorry, have I already done your mind?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought I'd already said that. Thanks.
I'm not sure that looks like... Anyway. No, I'm not for violence, I'm sorry. Okay, evening everyone. I am the 11th person on the ballot paper, so I will be the last to speak this evening. I'm Amanda Ireland and I'm running for council because I care deeply about our community, the people, the environment and the future we are building together. I've lived and worked in this region for many years and I've seen firsthand the challenges and opportunities that come with growth. My background is in early childhood education, teaching, I'm also a librarian, and community advocacy. And I've also owned and operated a small business for 27 years. That combination of hands-on experience, both in people-focused work and in running a business, has given me a really practical understanding of what it takes to make things work on the ground. Having worked with many children who are now the youth of our community, I feel a deep responsibility to listen to them as our future leaders. I'm steadfast in ensuring their voices are heard, supporting initiatives and strengthening youth wellbeing, education and employment pathways, and creating opportunities that work. My professional experiences have also given me insight into supporting families, children, and vulnerable and marginalised community members. I'm passionate about equity and access, working with stakeholders to ensure inclusivity for people with disabilities and advocating for services that meet the needs of residents, particularly those who may be underrepresented. Mental health, community health, and overall wellbeing are key focus areas for me. I hold training in Safe Talk suicide prevention, trauma-informed practice, and the United Convention of the Rights of Young Children, particularly in safety. These have helped me shape my approach, one grounded in compassion, understanding and action, and I believe I'll finish off after.
Time I'll sit in the middle so I get a chance to think about the answers.
I'm sorry, actually we're changing things up just to make it exciting the last round. This question is going to go to all candidates.
Okay.
Just want to make things a bit more exciting for you. So, everyone's going to get this. What's the question?
How are you different from other candidates, and what is important to you in Augusta?
Well, in a lot of ways, I'm not that different from the guys sitting next to me. Obviously, there's difference from the girls. And for Augusta, it's hard for us to say what Augusta needs because personally, I'm Margaret River based. But I'm very open to, hearing what people need and listening to what they want. That's why I'm running for council, is to represent the community. And not just the Margaret River community, also the Augusta community. Thank you.
Why am I different? I I'm not sure. I haven't just stayed in one career my whole life, so it's allowed me to meet a whole different range of people in all different industries. So I feel like that gives me a good connection to the community and will allow me to interact with the community as well, which will then allow me to hear what people want to say, like Julian's just said, and I think he said before, lots of people are going to have different ideas of what somewhere needs. So as on a council is there to hear all of those requests and ideas and then make the best decisions. So yeah, I mean, a lot of things are similar in all locations for what places want, like pathways and roads and things like that. So that's a common thing throughout, which would be down here in Augusta as well.
Tricky question. I don't know if I could say I'm different from everyone here. My career was people-based. My study was people-based. I feel like this role is people-based. I was a professional listener to people and a problem solver, and I feel like that just holds in good stead for something like this. And I have no vested interests. I'm not a business owner at the moment. I'm not a property, well, I own a house. I'm not a land developer. I just come into this with sort of pure intentions to try and do the best by everyone that lives in the area, which I assume everyone else sort of feels that too, so I don't know if it makes me different. But yeah, I think that's it. I'm just a long-term resident of the area who wants to see it do well and make it a sustainable and enjoyable life for whatever age you are. I think that's it. Thank you. Oh, no, missed the Augusta bit, sorry.
Oh.
Just more of the same. You just want to be, well, just that you want to be heard and make sure you don't feel like you're out. I live in Witchcliff, so I know what it's like to sort of feel like you're outside of the kind of main bubble of importance in the Shire. And I reckon Augusta probably has a little bit of that too, where you're a bit like, what about us? Sorry? Just a little bit. Just, well, exactly. So, you know, I can relate to that, and I just want to make sure people understand that I know that.
How are you different from other candidates, and what is important to you in Augusta?
Well, I can't be too different from these guys. So I run and own 3 businesses in Margaret River, 2 in Margaret River and 1 in Quaramap, and we hired altogether about 130 people. So my job is literally the day-to-day to listen to people and resolve issues and make sure that there is harmony and that everything works like a well-oiled machine. And I do feel like sometimes there is a little bit of a, I don't want to say less care, but you know, for our business in Quaramap, everything feels that it's very, very much Margaret River, Main Street focused, and all the rest feels a bit like, you know, if you don't actually make some noise, oh, there is Augusta there, how you going? So I feel like, you know, it's something that we need to fix, because there is Quaramap, there is Greystown, there is Witchcliff, which is growing, Carrydale is growing, Augusta, so that's definitely a priority. Thank you.
I'm losing my voice slowly as the evening goes on. I'm no different to anybody who sits in the Shire. I pay rates, I have a family, I love my community, I am worried about the future, I'm worried about putting a roof over my head, and I am generally concerned for the whole of the Shire. Like the chaps have said, it's not just Augusta, it's the whole area. And if we don't all look after it together and make focused decisions for the future, we could be in a very short predicament. That's me. I'm losing my voice.
Sorry, just as I was going to cough anyway. So, I think I am slightly different from most of my other candidates here, in that I'm not coming with any agendas, which I've heard some say tonight. I'm completely available. I did mention at the Chamber of Commerce that Augusta was a little bit special for me, particularly due to the fact that my husband was palliative recently, passed away last year, and he would have his carer bring him down here to throw a line in off the jetty before it closed down. And one of the last meals we ate together as a couple was at Colour Patch before we went, or after, in between a bank appointment. So, and there's, other areas, but Augusta has a very special place in my heart for those reasons, along with others. And in that time, I was working full-time. I took about 2 weeks prior to his passing to spend time with him, not knowing when that time would be. And then decided I needed to spend some time healing, as many of us may have been in that position, and realised we need to take some time out. And in the last little while, I've realised I didn't intend to retire. And so I've come to this table realising that I have a large capacity to continue working. I didn't want to move back into my previous roles, although I have been doing some relief teaching. So I put my hand up as a council member, knowing that I have a lot to contribute. I'm capable, potentially not very good at selling myself. But I know that having worked for the Shire previously, I understand the local government's workings and how to navigate some of our departments, and I have the time to commit.
Yes, thanks for the question. I suppose if I just pointed to one thing, what makes me different from current councillors or candidates is that I've had extensive experience as a councillor. I'm towards the end of my 4th term. That would be actually longer than most on the council at the moment, except for Ian Earle, who's retiring. And it's probably worth pointing out that there will be at least 3 new councillors, 4, potentially 5. Tracy Muir's running again, I'm running again. But so there is going to be new blood, and I think that'll be a very good thing. And no disrespect to those who haven't been councillors before. I was a non-councillor once, and it's very good that you're putting your hand up to represent your community. I think it's a very valuable thing to do. I enjoy doing that, so I want to keep doing that. I think I help out my community, and I hope it is appreciated and supported again, but that's in the hands of the voters, which is democracy at work, which is a great thing. For Augusta, I think important to me for Augusta is to do the right thing by Augusta, and it's a unique place. The natural beauty of the place, the river, the ocean, and it is something that's quite special, and I think we want to look after Augusta. And the main thing I get is that it doesn't get the resourcing that it deserves. So I hope on council we do the right thing. And I was mentioning some of the projects before that have been funded and supported by the Shire. Thank you.
Hello. So I haven't been a councillor before, and I don't have, lots of corporate experience, but I'm embedded in my community. I row, I'm in community groups, I'm across local issues through our community radio station, and that's the reason that I'm here, because I like to hear everybody's point of view so that I can put something together in my own mind to go forward with a sensible solutions, but making sure everybody gets heard. So I'm embedded, that's why I'm here. And I also I've had some experience through small business with the Shire and through interviewing with the Shire, and I've also lived in Quarramup, Gracetown, Wheelie Abrup, and so I'm across other issues and aware that we need to have equity across the whole Shire.
Thanks. What's important in Augusta, I think, is meaningful community engagement, actually listening to the community and advocating for the community voice. So I'm sure there's a range of issues. Some of those have been discussed tonight, but I think overarchingly it's listening to the community. How am I different? Well, I've got 15 years worth of experience working in planning for the state government. Planning and development in this Shire is really going to shape the way that it looks in the future. We're under so much growth pressure. So I have a pretty good understanding of where we can actually shape the future and push for really responsible planning and to get better outcomes. I've also had 5 years out of that system, which I think, during which time I've been getting my hands dirty in people's gardens and paddocks, and understanding what's happening in that environment and watching how all these planning processes and decisions actually play out on the ground. So yeah, I've kind of got that clarity of you know, the implications for what the Shire does and what the planning processes do. And I also speak to a range of different people. I've got clients that are on the NDIS, aged pensioners, all through to commercial properties. So I've got a good feeling of what people need. But I think I've run out of time.
You have.
So.
Thank you. I think at some level everyone who's nominating for council has something quite similar about them. They think they're doing it with good intentions. Everyone thinks that they're going to try and do the right thing by the community. Everyone's coming to try and engage with the community, and I'm sure that everyone believes that they're actually going to do their best and for the community. I suppose the major difference is background, and maybe I think that I would be really good because I've acted for and against councils, so I know already like a lot about the issues, and also that's part of my expertise is to look at vast amounts of documents, which I believe you have to as a councillor, read huge bundles of documents. So that is something that I have a good background in. I can come up to speed with issues quickly, and also I think I'm a really good communicator and advocate. I've stood up in court and argued for things. I can talk to anyone. I've been told by other people that that's one of my skills. So that's probably, getting back to the Augusta question, I would just really hope that the Augusta people felt heard, and I would like to be able to do that for them so that they actually feel like they're being heard by the council and feel that they can actually put Augusta issues at the forefront.
Thank you, Lisa. So I promised you all 2 minutes at the end.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks to all the guys that have turned up, and we'll be around afterwards, so that's when we'll actually hear what your concerns are, because again, being based in Margaret River, we don't have the same access to you guys that the that the local nominees have. And so our issues in Margs are similar but not exactly the same as your issues. And what I'm about is just representing everyone and seeing that the silent majority get a say, really. Thanks a lot.
I'd just like to come back to one of the questions that's on the sheet. It's about the RAC speed trial, and it just says, what's your opinion on the trial? I really don't like the trial, and I think we need to get the word out that people can respond now, and then the Shire will take that on board. So that is open to people now. You can give them your thoughts on that and see what can happen. We've started a small business just a couple of years ago, not even 2 years now. So we're aware of the challenges of working with the Shire. It took about 4 years between the idea and to signing a lease. So as far as small business goes and red tape and things like that, I think I have a pretty good understanding of some of that. I think that's about all I've got. I guess as far as Augusta goes, I'd say the jetty is a main issue. It's so iconic. You would think there's not too much to think about fixing it, but yeah, I guess I'll learn more about it if I get elected.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. I've said plenty. I won't say much more. I've got the time for this job. I'm lucky I don't work full time anymore, so this would be my job. So I have time. I love information. I love reading. So I'll soak it all up. And I welcome your phone calls. My number is on the information. So if there's any questions you want to ask me directly, I would welcome that. But thank you again for coming.
Well, first, thank you all for coming tonight. Really appreciate it. And, if you later on want to ask some other questions, I'll be available. Again, like Joe said, our phone number is also on our bio. But yeah, I am an executive in the Chamber of Commerce of Margaret River, and I'm actually the president in the one in Quaramap. And I deal a lot with the Shire, with the business issues. So I know how hard it is to even just start a business in our Shire these days. Few weeks ago we were here with the Chamber of Commerce, and there was a candidate local that had to go over a process of 3 years to start up a business. It's crazy. So we don't want that. We want everyone to be thriving in our Shire. So yeah, reach out if you want. Thank you.
No, it's fine. He's putting the kids to bed. I don't have much more to say because I don't have much voice left, so I'll stick around for 15 minutes because clearly they're all going to bed and I'll have a bit of free time up my sleeve. Thank you.
Just looking at the notes that I didn't get to finish. So in a nutshell, I've stated here that I'm committed to working with local stakeholders and grassroots clubs to strengthen services and build resilience and ensure everyone in our community has the opportunity to thrive. I believe grassroots sports, recreation and the arts, which none of that's been mentioned really this evening, are vital threads in the fabric of true community wellbeing. I also believe that advocacy matters. So in that sentence, advocating for the Shire of Augusta Margaret River with state and federal government, organisations. I've lost track of my notes. I've successfully secured funding applications and grants, so I'm able to turn ideas into meaningful outcomes that benefit the broader community. I believe good leadership starts with listening. Many of us have stated that. I've worked with families, community groups, First Nation organisations and local support services to support better outcomes in areas like mental health, disability inclusion and family wellbeing. I've also been a wildlife carer with fauna, so I'm passionate about protecting our incredible environment and biodiversity. These are the things that make our region so special. So pretty simply put it, I support small business vitality, plan smartly for population growth, improve infrastructure and ensure everyone in our community has access to the services and opportunities they need, no matter their ability or their age. Most of all, I believe in honesty, collaboration and accountability. I want to bring dedication, compassion and practical experience to the role, and I'll work hard to make sure our community continues to thrive now and in the future.
Thanks. I'll just cover a few things that have come up, and I'm not being defensive about the Safer Speeds trial, but I did come prepared for that because it's something that has been coming up a lot for me. So I went back to what we had. There's things on the website. You can feedback. I'm hearing that feedback. Like I say, I did something with it the other day. I was speaking to the RAC about what what can happen there. So please, I think it'd be good to have a look at what's on the website and put in your feedback, and that will inform us about what we do about that and what people from this table are going to do when they get on council. So another thing that came up that's probably worth mentioning is the wind farm and what the situation is there. It is going to be a decision by the DAP, which is not actually the state government, but there's a panel of 5, 3 appointed by the state government, 2 appointed by the council, and I'm actually one of those who is on that at the moment. So I stand in a particular position, and I think I will put something on the website, an answer to all that, to explain where I stand on that, but I can't indicate a position because it's going to be a DAP decision. Not much more time to go, but I'll just say thank you very much for coming, and it's really good to get this feedback to inform us when we do our jobs as councillors. Thank you.
No, one's enough. As a small business owner, I can advocate for small businesses with Shire. On the local Augusta issues, I'm across some of the issues on the Augusta reference group, so I can be a voice for Shire to community and back again on those local issues. I do stand for keeping Augusta's coastal hamlet vibe alive as we grow and develop, and I also stand for in-keeping developments, and that goes right across the Shire. So maintaining community as we grow, making sure those voices actually are heard at all levels and reverse, and I think that's about it. Thanks for coming.
No, that's working. Okay. I'll keep it short and sweet. Thanks for coming, everyone. So yeah, my aim, what I'm aiming for, is responsible planning within the Shire that meets the needs of our community and protects what makes this place special. So where the Shire is not the decision maker, we need to provide strong advocacy for the state and federal government to make sure that we can guide those decisions as best as possible. Where the Shire doesn't have the money to provide the infrastructure and the services that the community needs, we need to be really targeted with how we go about getting that money. And yeah, I think that's about it.
To repeat what one of the other councillors said, firstly, thanks for coming. Secondly, vote 1 Lisa McCusker. And I pretty much don't want to repeat what Lisa just said, but I agree with what she was saying. And my ability to read a room, I'd rather just talk to you for my 2 minutes. So.